Hello, I'm Don Mitchell. Welcome back to the 2000% Nation. Today I'll be talking about one of my very favorite topics, social enterprises, and the ways that they can contribute to making a nation much more fruitful for God's kingdom. Now, let me begin by quoting from the book of Luke, chapter 6, verses 32 through 36 in the New King James Version. But if you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners love those who love them. But if you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners do the same. And if you lend to those from whom you hope to receive back, what credit is that to you? For even sinners lend to sinners who receive as much back. But love your enemies, do good, and lend, hoping for nothing in return, and your reward will be great. You will be sons of the Most High, for he is kind to the unthankful and evil. Therefore be merciful, just as your Father also is merciful. Social entrepreneurs often take the unconventional view that they should establish organizations solely focused on providing products and services that will do the most good for everyone else, whether the beneficiaries are their enemies or their friends, rather than focus on personal financial gain. Clearly, such a commitment has been formed either by God's directions, as described in Luke 6:32 through 36, or by an exceptionally warm heart for others. You may be scratching your head wondering how enterprises created to serve such social purposes are different from the typical for-profit or non-profit organization. Let me explain through some descriptions, distinctions, and examples. I don't know of an accurate, narrow definition of social enterprises because my research shows that such organizations use a wide variety of structures and approaches. Instead of attempting to provide a definition, let me describe what I've observed instead. Those enterprises typically seek to optimize the social benefits as their top priority through making breakthrough improvements to the product or service offerings they supply for those who need the benefit and cannot supply it for themselves. How then is a social enterprise different from a foundation? A foundation typically accomplishes its beneficial role by funding socially helpful activities performed by others, while social enterprises directly engage in providing the helpful offerings. Social enterprises may be the recipients of foundation funds, especially during the development and testing of their business models, the who, what, when, where, why, how, and how much of serving stakeholders who are all those affected by their activities. Ownership of social enterprises may also be donated by entrepreneurs to foundations when that step will enable more social benefits to be produced through attracting gifts and reducing taxes. For-profit enterprises' primary purposes are typically to earn a profit above its cost of capital and increase its value during any stock sales by its owners. Serving any social purpose would normally be considered by a for-profit firm only when such accomplishments are obviously beneficial to profits and value. An emerging view among a minority in the business community is that adding social benefits can be helpful for achieving profit and value maximizing goals, especially for consumer products and services firms, by attracting more customers and providing more encouragement not to waste raw materials, energy, and other expensive resources. A nonprofit enterprise's primary purpose is to accomplish some public good. However, a nonprofit enterprise may or may not be seeking to make substantial innovations. As a result, some social enterprises may be established as nonprofit legal entities, in part to reduce the taxes that would otherwise increase their costs, or to attract more resources from donors when tax deductions are available for gifts. In many cases, the decision to seek nonprofit status is used to help clarify to potential beneficiaries that no one is trying to take economic advantage of the gifts that are received. To help you appreciate what I mean by these distinctions, let's look at some examples, starting with one that may be familiar to many in North America, the food company Newman's Own Inc. The company's all-natural grocery products, which started with salad dressings, were developed by the late actor Paul Newman and his friend A.E. Hotchner to be healthier and tastier for consumers and to provide more social benefits for suppliers. In doing so, the success of Newman's Own also helped interest food companies in providing healthier, more socially beneficial products. Newman's Own Inc. is owned by Newman's Own Foundation. All profits from the operating company's products are donated by the Newman's Own Foundation, less the foundation's small administrative costs to various charities, and several $100 million have been provided in this way. In this example, Newman's Own Inc. is a nonprofit social enterprise, and being owned by a foundation makes it legally easier for the company's profits to support worthy activities performed by various charities. If the only purpose of Newman's Own Inc. were to benefit its stakeholders and not to help any who aren't stakeholders, there would be no need for a foundation. Under such an alternative purpose and ownership, Newman's Own products would simply be sold at lower prices and be reformulated to provide even more beneficial ingredients so that consumers would receive more for their money until no profit was left to be shared with charities. To read more information, go to the website newmansown.com and newmansownfoundation.org. Now let's take a quick trip to India and check out the Aravind, that's spelled Aravind, eye care systems medical activities there. Aravind was established in 1976 by Dr. Govindappa Venkataswamy to treat eye conditions that often lead to blindness when left untreated, an unfortunately common circumstance for many poor people in lesser developed countries. The organization's purpose is to serve as many patients as possible, while also making big improvements in eye care methods and training eye care practitioners in the most effective practices. As part of its activities, Aravind manufactures some ophthalmic products, such as the intraocular lenses used in cataract surgery, to improve quality and to reduce cost. How is Aravind different from other eye care product or service providers? Typically, such operations are based on a for-profit purpose and legal structure. Aravind is actually a hybrid organization combining for-profit and non-profit practices. What's unusual is that Aravind uses for-profit activities as its primary source of funds instead of the way that many charities solicit donations to permit serving those in need. This nonprofit organization serves two kinds of patients, those who can afford to pay and those who cannot. Profits from treating the paying patients subsidize service for those who cannot pay. You may be imagining that the paying patients are charged high prices to allow for poor people to be helped. That's not the case. Instead, Aravind has become a world leader in cutting costs and improving the outcomes of many eye care services, especially for cataract surgeries. The results are so extraordinary that the National Health Service in the UK has flown thousands of its patients to India for cataract surgeries that are conducted by Aravind physicians. Even after paying for the travel and other expenses, the total costs to the National Health Service are lower, and there are fewer surgical complications for those UK citizens than when the patients would experience from treatment by National Health Service surgeons back home in the UK. As a result of its innovations and educational activities, Aravind is advancing the practice of eye care for everyone, but even more rapidly for poor people around the world as the use of its business model and highly effective low-cost practices spread. Most recently, Aravind has been training its competitors in how to copy its most effective practices. In doing so, Aravind's approach has been to make it clear that medical executives and practitioners often lack the skills necessary to create innovative business models and to make cost-reducing breakthroughs in improving care. If you'd like to learn more about the organization's activities, take the time to visit their website, Aravind, Aravind.org. The scope of what this social enterprise does is increasing rapidly, so be sure to read the latest annual report while you're there. Close to the time of this writing, a valuable history of the organization was published called Infinite Vision, How Aravind Became the World's Greatest Business Case for Compassion by Pavitra K. Mehta and Suchitra Shenoy, Barrett-Kohler, 2011. That I recommend to you as well. The book describes the non-Christian spiritual aspects of that organization becoming an effective social enterprise in more detail than you may find otherwise. Let's next consider a more recently established organization, the Bangladeshi social joint venture Grameen Danone Foods, founded by Bangladesh's depositor-owned Grameen Bank, a social enterprise that primarily provides microloans and educational assistance to help eliminate poverty, and France's publicly owned for-profit group Danone, best known for its yogurt, bottled water, and baby food. The joint venture produces a lower-priced, healthier yogurt snack that improves nutrition for children in poor families at low cost through an innovative small-scale manufacturing technology and employment of local small farmers as suppliers and poor women as distributors. The company also seeks to minimize any environmental harm through its use of solar power and innovative packaging. Grameen Bank brought to this joint venture its local knowledge of a pressing social need for serving poor children and its experience in establishing enterprises that improve the quality of life and more income for poor people living in Bangladesh's rural areas. Group Danone brought to the venture its depth of expertise in creating, manufacturing, and distributing yogurt products. Unlike many joint ventures involving only for-profit, publicly owned enterprises, Group Danone didn't connect with Grameen Bank to enrich its shareholders. Instead, the joint venture was founded with the understanding that it would provide no profit or dividends on its investment to its founders, but would focus on avoiding losses. Any profits would be reinvested to expand the company so more people would be served and more kinds of nutritional products developed and distributed. Group Danone's financial expectation was simply to have its initial capital investment returned over time. The original intent was for the company's stake to eventually be sold at cost to the poor people who work in and supply the joint venture. Group Danone stands prepared to provide additional technical expertise after such a stock sale should other products or services be needed for the joint venture. Despite the lack of profit incentive, Group Danone's management felt very well rewarded for their efforts by having the chance to see the good that their activities have helped accomplish. The joint venture's work gave their lives more meaning than would have occurred by focusing only on traditional for-profit activities and serving wealthier customers. The heart of this venture's brilliance is ultimately found in the innovations that create so much more nutritional, poverty-reducing, environmental benefits at low cost. Without the combined skills of the Grameen Bank and Group Danone, such innovations would not have occurred. In the long run, however, the venture's success in serving rural poor people primarily depend on the hard work and insight of its employees, suppliers, and distributors who serve local households. If you'd like to learn more about this venture, its founding and initial development are described in Creating a World Without Poverty, Social Business and the Future of Capitalism by Muhammad Yunus, Public Affairs 2008. You'll also gain a helpful perspective on principles that can be applied for creating social enterprises that succeed by complementary organizations working together to make socially beneficial breakthroughs that neither one could do alone. With these three examples of social enterprises in mind, let me discuss possible roles for social entrepreneurs and enterprises in establishing and improving 2000% nations. While the potential list of roles is quite long, I believe the following are the largest and most beneficial opportunities for social enterprises. First, help nonprofit and for-profit leaders learn about the potential to make breakthroughs in providing complementary exponential benefit increases for godly purposes by founding and teaming with others in social enterprises. Second, increase the capabilities of experienced social entrepreneurs to develop complementary exponential benefit breakthroughs for godly purposes. Third, assist people who would like to advance social purposes learn the advantages of encouraging the founding of, establishing of, and support of social enterprises for godly purposes. And finally, fourth, alert political leaders to the benefits of creating more incentives and reducing barriers for establishing and expanding highly effective, innovative social enterprises seeking to serve godly purposes. In the next video, we'll begin to look at one of these purposes, and you'll begin to get a sense of how that might be accomplished. So thanks for your attention. But in the meantime, may God bless you, your family, and all you do in the name of Jesus. Goodbye for now. Take care.